I enjoyed the next segment because it was so nice to hear two guys that actually sounded like they meant what they were saying, both talking to each other at the same time. Because usually you get one side maybe that might actually know how to do a promo, but you generally don't get two. And then we had Arn Anderson and Jake Roberts in the ring at the same time. And Arn stole this show to me because actually Jake went off kilter in a couple of instances. Sitting at the ends of the table to me looked awkward, but they wanted to have some space in between them. I think they could have sat at either end, and Tony sat in the middle as a separator, and it looked more natural. But Double A is still fantastic, and he says things and words things unlike any other person. He says plain spoken things, but in a memorable way. And at first, he was really starting to kick it in on Archer, and Jake brought it back to the two of them, kind of oddly. Who is cutting Jake's hair, by the way? They need to do some kind of sobriety program.
Man, you ain't lying. I noticed that when he got in the ring. I was like, what is going on? I mean, I know he had hair replacement surgery at some point, but that doesn't explain anything about what's going on with his hair right now.
Who has hair replacement surgery for your fucking sideburns? I don't, but hey, it makes my home haircut with Harley Quinn's poopy butt trimmers look better. But anyway, Double A plugged Mike Tyson, promoted whether Tyson might fuck with Jake or not. Then he really kicked in strong on the match, and he made this thing. I really think he did. We've heard Jake. We haven't heard Arn as much or nearly as much as we should have. And I think he really made this one. And then, of course, they tease a fight, and the referees come in to get in between them and everything. But now think about this for a second. A lot of this television show, to me, is people are being given segments to produce. Let's say if Arn and Jake are in a segment, well, obviously, they know what they're doing. We'll just give them a little input on what to say, and one of the tag team bookers might produce one segment, or somebody else might produce another segment. This was a great deal. Great little, two serious veterans that can talk and cut promos and make you believe they believe what they're saying. But for the overall logic of the television program, that should be the job of the person that doesn't exist, which is the person that's in charge of everybody. Two senior citizens knock a table over and stand up to fight 6 feet apart, and referees appear out of the woodwork. But in the previous segment before last, a guy milked felonious assault on a motherfucker for 3 full minutes, and not a soul came to the ring to do anything about it. Am I still playing chess while everybody else is on checkers, or did anybody else notice this also?
They don't know how to format a show, and they don't know how to lay out a show. That's been quite apparent, especially the last few weeks.
And this is not knocking AEW just because I hate the Young Bucks. This is what the fuck is going on here. If it's gravity in segment 1, then the gravity needs to work same way in segment 3. Shit just can't start falling upwards. And they come up with a lot of this shit because they think in their mind it's the spot, or it's the thing, or it's the angle, or whatever. Yet if you're shooting a big budget Hollywood motion picture, a Western movie about gunfighters in the 1880s and the fucking gunfight at the OK Corral, it may make a great spot if somebody gets run over by a fucking Honda in the final scene, but it wouldn't work in the fucking movie.
I was very disappointed by that segment because unless they're setting up Jake versus Arn, which I can't imagine that they're doing, I can't even understand what the hell they were talking about. They were talking past each other at certain points, talking like they're building up a match between each other. Cody and Lance Archer is this Saturday.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, Cody's wife went down and had a snake put on her, and Jake dry humped her. Last week, Cody drove a few feet angrily into a gate, got out of his truck, which has the same neck tattoo as him. They had a brawl. Cody has not done one fired up promo making me care about this match. We didn't even see Lance Archer this week. It was almost like they were an afterthought. And Jake's promos, by and large, since he got there, are about Jake, not about Lance Archer.
Well, that's what, remember I said at one point, Arn started to kick in about Archer, and Jake interrupted him and brought it back to them and got him off track, and he never really went back to Archer.
This has been such a piss poor job of building up this match after they did that angle with Brandy, which, by the way, we figured out a way to get Brandy off TV. It's been 2 weeks now. But, and they're going to have Mike Tyson there. I remember Jake Roberts versus the Snowman in the Superdome, where they had Muhammad Ali there, and Jake wouldn't sell for Ali. The Barbarian, John Nord, was flying all over the place. Jake wouldn't go down. What's going to happen with Tyson now when he throws a punch?
Oh, that's right. Well, and that was Jake actually commented. He said, hey, he was just here for one night. I was the top heel. I had to keep my heat.
But I just think they were building up a match between them. Cody was an afterthought. You didn't even see Cody's image barely on this show. This is a go-home show.
I'm not explaining it, but yeah, with Arn, and that is the most, I think, in aggregate, not just the longest promo Arn's had on their television, but it's the longest in total. He hasn't spoken that much yet. If he had the product that he's selling in front of him, i.e. Cody Rhodes, he could obviously sell it and get it over. Cody can do his own promo. We've seen that, but he isn't. But Arn could sell it and get it over. But when you put Arn at the opposite end of the table with Jake, who's all over the place and surprising him, they sounded like they all meant it. They're professionals. And as I said, it was refreshing to hear somebody that sounded like that they meant it. But as you pointed out, they didn't really sell the fucking match that much. And Jake, we've heard Jake. And this wasn't the best Jake that we've heard. It's something they need to. You need to see all the moving parts together. What if it had just been me and Paulie doing the promos without the Midnight Express teams? Okay, we would have done them better, but without the Midnight Express teams to do the fucking matches, we would have just been yelling at each other. You never see Arn with Cody in a talking confrontational position with heels. You never see, up until the last 2 weeks, you haven't seen Jake with Archer. Part of that was the pandemic. Where the fuck was Archer now? He was there last week. He can't get to the same fucking place. So they're never actually all together.
What would be more effective, this segment or a Cody interview where he can go one of two ways? He could be really angry and yelling, or he could be completely methodical and incensed. I'm going to get you. You put your hands on my wife. You dragged her in the ring. You put a snake on her. You dry humped her. I'm going to get you again. Now that I think about it, it's all things Jake did, not what Lance Archer did.
Well, yeah. That's it. Yeah. Well, that needs to be the way he sells it then. All right. Just out of the top of my ass, my cavernous rectum. What about if there was one of these artsy fartsy fucking videos of all these snakes slithering around, and you think it's going to be Jake the Snake, and all of a sudden you pull back and the fucking leg they're slithering around doesn't look like Jake's leg, and the fucking body they're slithering at doesn't look, it's Cody. And I don't know if he's scared of snakes or not. I wouldn't do this promo, but if he's goddamn the American Nightmare, he's got a bunch of snakes, and he's doing that laid back promo, and he's just saying, I'm not scared of snakes, Jake. And I'm not scared of you. But I don't care if I was, because after what you did to my wife, I've got to get even. And the only way that I can get even is by taking down, beating up, going through, walking over, or in some fashion getting past that big jacked up, crazy 6'7", 285-pound beast that you brought over here from Japan. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. One way or another, he will have to kill me. And here's the thing, Jake. I've got a burning deep hatred for you and a dire need for retribution. And all Lance Archer's looking at is beating somebody up for a payoff. So he's going to have to kill me to stop me. But if he doesn't kill me, I'll fucking reach up. I'll gouge his eyeballs out. I'll bite his fucking nutsack off. I'll bash him over the head with a blunt instrument. I'll do whatever I got to do. Because once he's out of the way, Jake, you old, fat, decrepit, perverted piece of garbage that has leached off of the world for so long now, and taken and taken and taken and never given anything back, played the victim all your life. For what you did to my wife and the way you embarrassed my family, you're a senior citizen, and I'm going to beat the hell out of you. And I'm going to fuck you up. And I'm going to put you out of wrestling once and for all, like should have been done a long time ago and like you tried to do to yourself. Jake, I'm going to be the only enemy of yours that's worse than you. Because I'm going to be the one to finish you off. Because who cares about Archer at this point?
I'm going to finish you off so I can get to Sean Spears.
Yeah, so then I can get to Sean Spears and get on Sean Spears News.
You know, when Arn said, Jake, you do DDP yoga now, I was half expecting him to go, and in Cody's corner will be Dallas Page, which would have been an interesting dynamic. I'm not saying I endorsed this, but I thought that's where they were going for a split second.
I was expecting him to say, when he said you do DDP yoga, I was expecting it would have worked, but you're still a fat ass.
You do DDP yoga. Can I get a free sample of that?
I was about to say, I guess Arn probably shouldn't have talked about anybody having put on a pound or two, because that was the one thing that worried me there. I'm the only one of all of these guys, my contemporaries, and I was never athletic, and I've never been a gym a day in my life, and I weigh less now than I did then.